All righty then. So we got to chat with the Let's Chat people.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God. You
Hey,
guys
y'all.
are.
Hey, y'all.
Yes.
Hey, y'all.
You see all of our backgrounds?
I know.
I know. I'm like, I first saw the background. I'm like, how do both of them have they the same looking? Are they in the same house? Because you all have the same background. And that was freaking me out. I was like, wow, what is that? I am going to turn this segment over to all of the people that you interviewed, but I'm going to ask a basic question for people who are not familiar with Let's Chat Live. I want to know how you all got started with doing Let's Chat Live, because you guys are everywhere. When you all sent me the link to where everything was going to be, it was like, this long. I was like, man, these ladies have been around like I would say since Moses dropped the tablets on the way down the first time, and then they had to go get it edited and get the new version. I'm just saying.
Say that.
Indeed. So you all, who wants to answer that, or you can start it and then I'll post one to which. First of all, hands up. Which one is Lissha? And which one is Miss Toni? There we go. So now we know the difference. On my screen, you guys are reversed. So how did you all get started doing Let's Chat Live?
Well, actually, we are Let's Chat Radio. Okay. We actually been doing Let's Chat for about 6 years, but we've been doing radio since 2011. We started off, we actually met in a readers group. And from that readers group, we became close with the authors. So we did some beta reading. I started doing promotion for one of the authors, and we saw a podcast, and I actually told one else, I was like, I think we could do that. Like, we could absolutely do that. So we actually started on Real Raw Radio with Nene Capri and Aaron Bebo. We started doing that. That was back in 2011. I was actually already doing interviews in the Writing Royalty Facebook group. And it was Honor that author. Thanks, T. It's my right hand. Sometimes she my left too. But yeah, that was Honor That Author. I was doing that on Fridays. And I was having authors come in and I was doing it online. But when I started doing radio, it got to be much because I was doing the producer portion of the show. I was making flyers. I was doing bookings. So it got hard to do both. And so I asked T, I was like, well, T, I want to bring Honor That Author on the radio. That's what we were called originally. And I said, we'd be my co-host. We started like once a month because we didn't have time for nothing else. And from there, we ended up changing the name. We had to change the name, I think, twice. Before we got to Let's Chat. Actually, Let's Chat Live was due to COVID. We just had to, every business, especially during COVID, had to come with a business pivot. You had to pivot in that industry in order to be able to move forward and maintain. And so we still do the radio. And then we have Let's Chat Live. So boom, we just do both. We do Let's Chat Live on Thursdays. Well, depending, I have to be careful because sometimes I'll be having people on. Toni will be like, listen, you got me booked before snows come. I mean, I ain't got no summertime. What I'm supposed to do? So, but we've had everybody on, authors, lawyers, doctors, CEOs, musicians, actresses, actors. We've had some of everybody come through the chat room door. Some people have been on the red carpet and have given us, 15, 20, 30 minutes. One thing I can say with Let's Chat is we give an experience. And that's, I believe, why we have such an impact in the industry. I think that whatever you do, you have to give that experience. Interaction is key, but when people interact with you, it has to be an experience. We have a good time. We'll have musicians will come on and they'll be like, I can give you about 30 minutes. They'll be on for an hour and a half, but it's the experience that we give. I think in everything, people are not really buying, even in literature, people are not buying your books. They're buying you. And we have to keep that in mind when we're entrepreneurs, and we have to make sure that we're always personable, that we're always having, providing that experience for people that come into our path. Go ahead, T.
What's left to say, Lissha?
Obviously, it ain't much at this point, but go ahead anyway.
But I just want to add, first of all, thank you so much for having us this evening. It has been a remarkable weekend. But I also like to add that, it's our radio platform is free. We love being able to introduce new artists, no matter what the genre may be, to people that may not necessarily come into contact. We are known worldwide on so many different platforms. We've had seasons as well as newbies, because we can all learn from each other. You can never be in the business and not continue to learn.
That's right.
And some people come on that are new, they're nervous. We say, don't worry, you're just talking to me and Leash. And before you know it, like we said, they have been on radio for so long and they're so comfortable. So that is a great experience, especially for new artists, because they don't know what to expect when they get into the media part of literature.
Absolutely. And I want to piggyback off what T said, because it's very important that as authors, and I know there are readers on here, but as authors, you have to make sure that you're a forever business 24 hours a day. You are forever branding. You are forever introducing yourself. In the day of social media, internet, your audience is worldwide. I believe your audience is whoever you sit next to on a train, plane, automobile, in the gas station, at the Walmart. I mean, that's your audience. It's whoever you come in contact with, and you do have to sell yourself. But you want to make sure that in that process, you're making sure that you know that you are a brand first and foremost. Sorry, T, go ahead.
So many of you have been on our show, so now the roles are reversed. I get to feel the nerves that you feel.
All that, yeah.
So give it to us. What y'all got for us?
I mean,
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question for Toni. Toni, you're an editor as well. How much of the books that you edit do you incorporate into the show?
That's a good question, Miss Anita. I love always interacting with Miss Anita. I am an editor. I'm actually under the tutelage of Victoria Christopher Murray, and I also work with Joylyn Ross. I'm one of her editors as well as my own independent business. But a lot of people I find, especially first authors that I work with, just to get them on that road to getting that familiarity in the business. But I always give the suggestion, if you'd like to come on our show, here's how you link up with us, what you can expect. This is special. A lot of people come to us first when they're introducing their new authors into the business. So I love editing. I thank you for asking that question. I just want to add my editing voice to everyone else that has been on the show this evening. Miss Anita.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I always say T is that hardcore red. She got that hardcore red pen. You remember when you were in elementary school, you had that teacher, you was like, had your little Oreos, your ice cream, you was going in. You just knew that you just knew that paper was the bomb. You walked in the classroom, chest all out, you was proud, put it on the desk, boom. Sat down, got that thing back 3 days later, and it was like, wait a minute, wait, that was my best stuff. Wait,
so you thought.
So you thought,
so look, but I didn't get the red marks until I got to high school, and then when I got at Naleighna, so that was an entirely different experience.
But Toni is a total experience, and I love the way she edits, because first of all, she likes to make sure she gets in tune with the author's pen. I think when you're picking an author, I heard the previous guest say, you want to make sure that the editor, you want to make sure you know what kind of editor you have. And you have to have a relationship. Your editor is your right hand. They take your paper, your book, whatever you're getting edited, they take that from good to great, from great to awesome, from 1 star to 3 stars, 3 stars to 5 stars. Their job is to get blood from a turnip. So when you say, well, I'm tired of seeing chapter 4. If you're tired of seeing chapter 4, the reader tired of seeing chapter 4 too. So you have to make sure that you are, if it gets to that point, you have to start organizing what you want to happen in that chapter. Because as readers, we see your naked soul. If you're tired, we can see it. If you're confused, we can see it. If you weren't quite sure on the way you wanted the story plot to go, we can see it. If it was a character that you don't like much, we can see that. We see everything through your pen. We feel your passion through your pen, and you have to keep that in mind. So the best part about T as an editor is she takes time to know the author's pen and to feel that author's pen before she go in and give you the red marks. But even when she give you the red marks, she does it in love, because she's very good at explaining and educating at the same time. This is why this is like this. This is why this is not working like this. And she allows them to understand. And if you don't understand after you get it, then she'll do a coaching with you and explain. So that you're very clear. So I love her hands-on, no nonsense experience, because if you're using a comma too often, she's going to say, just send me the whole key. Don't even touch it no more, the whole book.
I love that.
Absolutely.
So true.
So I guess the question I need to ask, considering I think I've probably been on more than any of the others at this point, I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that just to be sure. Matter of fact, I'll probably need to see y'all sometime next month because I got something coming. That being said, who have y'all enjoyed throughout the time that you have interviewed authors, entertainers, musicians, that type of thing?
Oh, wow.
Has stuck out for you is the question.
That's a hard one.
Ooh. First on that one, girl.
That's like asking who's your favorite child. I'm just saying.
No favorite children or nothing like that. I'm just saying.
Oh God, our favorite. I think all of our guests bring a different kind of element. Just like kind of like a cup of coffee. For all those coffee drinkers, you have the cup of coffee, you got an espresso, and espresso got 50 different coffee brands, beans, and it's like each one gives you a specific experience. You get something from it. I think that it really depends on who we're having on. I love to educate in everything that we do. I love to have education shows, and I love to have our relationship shows. Those are probably my favorite. T, what about you?
I'm going to say that, each of our guests do bring a different experience, but just like Lissha and I, we don't have formulated questions for our guests. It all goes on how they happen to be feeling at that particular time. The show takes on a life of its own. We never know what we're going to ask, what we're going to do, how crazy we're going to get. So and at certain times we may think we're going to get one thing from an author or a guest, and we get something totally different. Sometimes after the show, I'm like, Leash, I didn't expect that, but it was an awesome show. Or sometimes you have to pull things out of different guests. So it's all based on how we're feeling at the time, what we're talking about, and just life in general.
See, we only got 30 minutes, but I'm saying this right now, y'all. When you are doing interviews, I'm just saying, don't send me no inboxes, please. Now, listen, we do have to pull people out, but when you go onto an interview, you have to be the life of the party sometime as the person being interviewed. Because sometimes you might get somebody interviewing you and they're dry, and it's hard for you
Been there.
But you have to be the life of the party. Sometimes you got to take over the interview. People always come on and be like, oh my God, I've just been talking the whole time. Those are our favorite guests, the ones that talk, because they give us the most information. They start telling us stuff they wasn't even planning on telling us. We just like,
that part.
That part. Take it all in.
Listen, we get movies getting ready to come out that wasn't supposed to be said, books dropping. I mean, we be hearing that. I just be like, wow.
You won't tell nobody.
Look, I get it. Believe me. I remember when I was in the interviewer's chair back in the day doing Blog Talk Radio. I get it. So it'd be those days where it's like, you just know probably within the first couple of minutes that it's going to be a dry interview, and oh my God, you almost have to pull teeth. And if you ain't pulling teeth, all of a sudden your personality got to go ahead and take over at that point, so it can been there. I get it.
But we enjoy it. Yeah, Lissha and I, we so enjoy what we do. If you guys can't tell, she and I, we vibe with each other. We start up the show like it's just the two of us, like we haven't talked a couple of hours ago. I'm like, Leash, it's not just us. Like,
please understand. I remember the first time I interviewed with y'all, and I was just like, okay, so when was I supposed to be in your life? What's really going on here? Like, okay, never mind. I'll find my way in some kind of way.
Yes, but we're soul scratchers. That's one thing I will say about T and I. We are soul scratchers. So if you come in there scared and afraid and you quiet, by the time you leave out, you all turned out. We turned out.
This is true.
In a good way.
In a good way.
That is absolutely true.
Oh goodness.
Come on, y'all, hit us with some questions.
Come on, Stephanie, girl. You got some questions for us.
I have a question for both of you. What is your favorite genres to read?
Oh, good one.
Yeah, I'm going to sit back on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. Lately, the last couple of years, I haven't been able to pleasure read because I've been doing so much editing. But the type of books that I love to read are suspense. I love romance. I mean, I remember romance stories that I read like 30, 40. I'm not going to go past that because then I'll be giving away something years ago. But I just love
You said it, not us.
But I just love a good book, and by us doing the show, Lissha and I have been introduced to so many different types of books, so many different types of music. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that we take away from our show is that we come across things that we wouldn't normally come across, So I enjoy a good book. How's that, Miss Stephanie?
I will accept
that. For me,
that's one of them skirt the answer issues.
Right.
Whatever. I'm gonna get you, Toni.
For me, my favorite type of book, I'm book bougie. T is too. We used to deny that. We used to deny it and be like, "Oh, you wrote that book? Oh, okay." But now we embrace it. So I'm real book bougie. But I love cozy mysteries. I also love street lit books, and I love street lit books, not for the shoot 'em up bang bang per se, but I like the underlining things that you get from a street lit author. They can write multiple genres at one time, and that's what I enjoy. For me, reading is like getting on 75. Every exit is something new, something exciting, something going on. And that's how I look at when it comes to reading books. And I love history. So I love history type books because I love to read history about the Cousins War back in, the day over across the pond. I like to read about slave times. I love to read about the abolitionists. I mean, I love history. I love to learn. So I got a lot of stuff that I like to read. I will read anything. It depends on the author. It depends how they're bringing it to me. If the author can get me in that first 5 pages, then you got me. You can't get me in the first 5 pages. She gonna give you 20. I'm not gonna give you 20. I'll give you 5, and then I'm gonna look at the end of the book and find out what happens. I'm gonna open up to the middle of the book, see what's going on in the middle, and if it's all popping through there, I'm gonna drag myself through the beginning of the book, so I can know, because I know it's gonna get good eventually.
Okay. I try not to look at the end because I like the suspense, but like Lissha said, sometimes you can't help. I'm like, is this going to get any better?
Yes.
But I do.
Listen, once a reader puts your book down, they're not going to pick it back up. And one thing we always advocate on Let's Chat is making sure that you keep your catalog on point, because the reader is not going to like everything you write. Your audience is not going to like everything you write. Everything not going to pop with them. But when it does pop, you want to make sure when they go back to your catalog and they start reading your other books, those books have been touched on. They have been updated. I don't care how far back you wrote that book. You make sure that it's on point, because when they go back, they're looking at you. They're looking at your pen. And so if you have pen growth, you definitely want to make sure you're advertising, because that's your catalog is doing advertising that.
Well, I wondered about how did the two of you master that process of bouncing off one another? I had so much fun laughing and talking. My cheeks hurt by the time I finished with the two, and by the time the two of you finished with me. And I was telling some things I shouldn't have said.
That's what they do, though.
That's what we do.
Exactly.
It's just the whole
very well.
Process.
Yes, Let's Chat is a whole vibe, but we bounce off each other. We've been doing this since we met. Honestly, when we met in being readers in a group, that's just really what we do.
We're just in tune. We love it.
Yes.
That's my partner right there.
Yeah, she my left hand, and sometimes she my right hand. Cause sometimes I be having too much going on, and she'll have to be like, "Leash, I need you to unplug."
Unplug it, girl.
So like, you don't do prep work with one another, kind of get a sense of what the vibe is like, or prep what the author is like, to kind of give you a sense of what the interview is going to be like.
Which is who we are.
I promise you. They've been like this. They've been like this long as I know them. I swear, it is something serious. It's like almost like they fine tune it year by year.
Well, I do a little prep. I call it author stocking. So if somebody is coming on the show, I will stock their social media. I'll stock their social media. I'll stock their books on Amazon. I'm looking at how many reviews they have. I'm not necessarily reading the reviews because this is our thing about reviews. After a while, it becomes a message board for the reader to the author. And if you get a bad review, you have to determine one of two things. Is it because something was wrong inside the book, or just because you put them in their feelings? If you put them in their feelings and they're mad because you broke up Brad and Jen and you killed off Sam and Drake, I mean, then you did your job, because your job is to make sure they are in their feelings by the time they put that book down.
Exactly.
Right.
Come on, y'all. Y'all done tried. Y'all be popping.
We in the groove.
Look, I'm letting them run. I'm like, they got questions too. Don't mind me. I'll take over in a heartbeat. You already know this.
You all have said that you've had some of everyone from different walks of life on your show. Is there anybody that you won't allow on the show? Is there any?
Oh, no. We've had some authors that have been in controversial situations. We've had them on the show. One thing we don't do is drama. And one thing we don't do is band ride. So if there's a controversial situation going on, we'll ask questions around that. And if you tend to start ranting, we figure out a way to get you out of that. We'll start asking questions that's going to guide you away from that rant and into something else.
Right. So we just kind of like, we keep it tasteful. That's one thing that you can say. You can't say anything about Lissha and I as being unprofessional, untasteful, and that's just not gonna pull the wool over our eyes. Even our callers, I think we've even gotten our callers into being with their questions when they press their one to get into so that's just something that we just don't do.
Absolutely. It's funny story, because I know we only got a few more minutes, but Blog Talk, I know a few of you have had shows on Blog Talk, but Blog Talk, sometimes you get those 000 callers, and so we got one last month or something like that. By the time we got done with him, he was like, wow.
Exactly.
He's like, okay, but we had to give him an experience. First, we thought he was a guest. Then we was like, nah, there's something else going on. By the time we got done with him, he was right on track.
So name the one guest that you want to have on your show that you haven't yet?
Oh, wow. I do have a show bucket list. I will say anybody that I've wanted to have on the show that I've gone after, I've absolutely gotten. Sometimes it's time restraints as far as, especially if they're actresses or actors, it's hard to get them. But I do want to get Sister Soldier on the show. Awesome. And I want to get Quincy Jones on the show. And Michelle Obama. I think that would be a fun show as well.
That would be awesome.
I have a short list. I listen to satellite radio, and one of my favorite DJs just put a book out last week, Cayman Kelly. It's just the title of his book, and I want to say from something like From 6 Cents to a Millionaire or something like that. I would love to have him on the show.
Why you didn't tell me? I can get him. I'm just saying.
Wow. You got your pen and paper over there, girl. So I'm
thinking else.
We can go take it on Let's Chat. But in a lot of shows since COVID, I get to see a lot of children authors coming on. So we love when children authors come on. And Stephanie, you were one of our very first Let's Chat Live guests. You started it off, girl. So we thank you for that. But I love children authors, and like Lissha said, we love learning. We love being introduced to something that we may not necessarily be introduced to. So, that's just part of our bucket list.
Absolutely. We always do a state of literature show every year, maybe twice a year. We just did one last week, the state of African American publishing and literature, and it was so phenomenal. Listen, it was dropping jewels after jewel, and that was what I wanted. I wanted it to promote thought. I wanted it to promote a fire to push your brand beyond where it's at, beyond Amazon. I think a lot of times you have to know the intent of the direction your books are going to go in. Where do you want it to go? If you just want it to be on Amazon, then that's what it's going to do. But if you want it to be beyond Amazon, then you have to look at Amazon as a tool and not the end all be all of what you need.
Exactly. Any other questions? I'm in a groove now. Catch me out.
Here.
Man, listen, look, it's like this. I think at this point it's just a matter of just letting everybody know how to get with you. If they want to go ahead and start with the interview process and that type of thing. Because I know King already said so. I think King already asked about it as far as the website and everything along those lines. So let everybody know how to get with you, and then we can wrap up a couple other things on that.
Absolutely. Actually, you can get us. It's Let's Chat Radio, but you can email us at thechatradioshow@gmail.com. You can also catch us on Instagram. We're Let's Chat on all platforms. We believe in that consistent branding. We just saying you can't be author such and such over here and then hot mama boom boom over here. You got to be consistent all the way through.
Absolutely.
So any platform podcast, the ladies on Let's Chat go where you go.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, we thank you, ladies, for visiting with us tonight. It's nice to have you guys on our platform.
This is so awesome.
And you have been on, we've been on your platform. So
yes.
One of the first people was, as far as the radio show format, that I wanted to make sure that came on. We couldn't do this without you. Because you have been a blessing to us to make sure that we have been on your show and prepared, and the stuff that happens behind the scenes, and you'll need to send it to us, but y'all like me, y'all need to send it to us by this date or this won't get done. I know what that's like. I'm like, all right then, yeah. So we got that well in hand. So thank you so much for being here. And you're gonna stick around. You guys want to stay in the backyard? Please drop your links in the chat, please.
Okay, we will.
Okay. And
absolutely.
And feel free to drop the links to our shows in there. I'm hint. Anyway, I'm just saying. Okay, thank you so much.
Across the board. We support everybody.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You guys are so welcome. We'll go into the backyard and kick it for the rest of the guests you guys are gonna have.
Okay, take care. Okay.
Bye.
Okay.